Hi, this is Aisha Balmaceda, and today's activity is about acids and bases and solubility equilibria. This is laboratory exercise number 003. And in this experiment, this aims to classify common household items into acids or bases using a simple indicator. Using the same household items, acid-base reactions will also be shown through a simple experiment. Objective: at the end of this activity, the students are expected to have been able to make a simple indicator to help identify acids and bases, classify common household items as acids and bases, perform a simple acid-base reaction, identify the chemical equation, and predict the product's base on the reaction. On part 1 of this activity, the materials needed are red cabbage, lemon juice, model sample for acid, soapy water, model sample for base, drinking water, milk, soda, you can use either Coca-Cola or Pepsi, vinegar, baking powder, baking soda, tomato or tomato juice, vitamin C in water, salt in water, brown sugar in water, shampoo, detergent, and bleach. Dropper for each item and another one for the red cabbage. White plate or similar items. Flat surface with white background where you can drop liquids. Tissue or clean cloth for wiping spills. Glass jar, pot, stove, and knife. Take red cabbage and slice it into small pieces. Place them in a pot and fill with enough water to cover the pieces. Heat mixture on a stove and boil for 30 minutes. Cool, then collect the red cabbage juice into a glass jar. The boiled cabbage is still edible, so if you want to use it as an ingredient for any meal, you can. Using a dropper, place 2 to 3 drops of lemon juice onto a white plate. Using another dropper, add 1 to 2 drops of the red cabbage juice. Record if any color change happens. Repeat steps 5 to 7 for soapy water and the remaining materials, from drinking water to bleach. Record all observations on the table provided. There are 3 questions to be answered on this activity. Number 1. What happened when the red cabbage was boiled? A. Nothing happened. B. The cabbage turned transparent. C. A bluish-violet juice was extracted from the cabbage. D. A red extract was collected from the boiled cabbage. My answer is letter C. A bluish-violet juice was extracted from the cabbage. 2. What color change occurred when the red cabbage juice was mixed with the lemon juice, or the acid? A. No change. B. Blue turns red. C. Blue turns yellow. And D. Blue turns green. My answer is B. Blue turns red. Number 3. What color change occurred when the red cabbage juice was mixed with the soapy water or the base? A. Blue turns red. B. Blue turns green. C. No change. And D. Blue turns yellow. My answer is letter B. Blue turns green. And that's the end of the part 1 of this activity. Part 2 of the laboratory exercise number 003. The materials needed are baking soda, vinegar, mixing bowl, measuring spoon, goggles or other eye protection, laboratory coat or another layer of protective clothing, closed shoes, and gloves. Place a spoonful of baking soda into the mixing bowl. Slowly add a spoonful of vinegar into the baking soda. Observe what happens. There are a list of questions on this part 2 of the activity. Number 1. What happened when the 2 ingredients were mixed? A. Bubbling occurred. B. Nothing happened. C. The mixture turned black. D. The baking soda became a solid. My answer is A. Bubbling occurred. Number 2. Which of the following is an acceptable conclusion based on your answer in question number 1? A. One of the possible products of the reaction is a gas. B. Both reagents are not reactive with each other. C. Combustion occurred since the mixture turned black, or something burned. D. The vinegar caused a chemical change on the baking soda, turning it into a solid object. My answer is letter A. One of the possible products of the reaction is a gas. Number 3. Which of the reacting ingredients is an acid? A. Acid, baking soda. B. Acid, vinegar. C. Not enough information to identify. D. Both are acid. My answer is letter B. Acid, vinegar. 4. Which of the reacting ingredients is a base? A. Base is vinegar. B. Base is baking soda. C. Not enough information to identify. And letter D. Both are bases. My answer is letter B. Base is baking soda. Number 5. How did you identify the acids and the base? A. Based on the previous experiment. B. Based on taste. C. Based on smell. And letter D. I am not sure. My answer is letter A. Based on the previous experiment. On the laboratory quiz here, by using the color chart showing in figure 1, Rate the intensity of the color change you observed when mixing the red cabbage juice with household items. Classify the household items as acids or base by completing the table below. Here are the list of the household items. This is to identify if the household item is acid, base, or neutral. Number 1, lemon juice, acid. Number 2, soapy water, base. Number 3, drinking water, neutral. Number 4, milk, acid. Number 5, soda, base. Number 6, vinegar, acid. Number 7, baking powder, base. Number 8, baking soda, base. Tomato or tomato juice, acid. Vitamin C in water, acid. Salt in water, neutral. Brown sugar in water, acid. Shampoo, acid. Detergent, base. Bleach, base. Number 16. What is an indicator? A. An indicator is a solution or a compound that changes color when mixed with an acid or a base. B. An indicator changes the color of the acid when mixed with a base. C. An indicator hastens the reaction between an acid and a base. D. An indicator slows down the reaction between an acid and a base. And my answer on this question is letter A. An indicator is a solution or a compound that changes color when mixed with an acid or a base. (17) Is the reaction between the household ingredients and the indicator an example of a reversible acid-base reaction? A. Yes. You can change the indicator back to its starting color by adding either an acid or a base. B. No. Once the indicator changes, it can no longer be returned to its original color. C. It depends on the household ingredient. If it is a strong acid or base, then it is not reversible. D. Not enough information. For me, the answer is letter C. It depends on the household ingredient. If it is a strong acid or base, then it is not reversible. 18. What is the similarity between water and the red cabbage juice? A. They can both resist drastic changes in pH. B. They can act both as an acid and as a base depending on the other reacting compound. C. They are both acids, and D. They are both bases. And my answer is letter B. They can act both as an acid and as a base depending on the other reacting compound. For questions 19 to 27, we will refer to part 2 of the experiment. And the questions here are: number 19, what is the acid found in the ingredients? A. Acetic acid. B. Hydrochloric acid. C. Citric acid. D. Phosphoric acid. And my answer is letter A. Acetic acid. Number 20, what is the base found in the ingredients? A. Sodium hydroxide. B. Potassium hydroxide. C. Sodium bicarbonate. D. Sodium chloride. And the answer is C. Sodium bicarbonate. 21. What is the correct acid-base reaction? I'm not gonna read this, but my answer is letter D. What are the products formed? On the question number 22. A. Sodium chloride and carbonic acid. B. Sodium acetate and water. C. Potassium acetate and water. And D. Sodium acetate and carbonic acid. My answer is letter D. Question number 23. Carbonic acid is easily converted into water and blank. Hence, the fizzing and bubbling during the reaction. H2CO3 to H2O plus blank. A. CO or carbon monoxide. B. CO3 or carbonate. C. CO2 or carbon dioxide. And D. C or carbon. My answer is CO2 or carbon dioxide. Number 24. Will sodium acetate dissolve in water or will it form a precipitate? A. It will dissolve in water. B. It will precipitate. My answer is A. It will dissolve in water. 25. What will be the chemical equation for the dissolution or ionization of sodium acetate? Answer is letter B. Number 26. If instead of vinegar, lemon juice was used, what will you observe? A. Nothing, because lemon juice is a base. B. Nothing, because lemon juice is an acid. C. There will be bubbling too, since lemon juice is a base. D. There will be bubbling too, since lemon juice is an acid. And my answer is letter B. Nothing, because lemon juice is an acid. 27. What is the acid found in lemon juice? A. Hydrochloric acid. B. Acetic acid. C. Citric acid. And D. Sulfuric acid. My answer is letter C. Citric acid. And that's the end of our laboratory exercise number 003.